There's a high rate of people that are not being authentic or are scared of being vulnerable in this part of the world. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We all have struggles. Everyone have one pain or the other in their lifetime, whether work struggles, home struggles, struggles with one career or the other, struggles about the life or the things that we want to achieve. Why do we try not to be authentic about the struggles? Why do we shy away from being vulnerable to other people? How can we create a safe environment whereby people can remain vulnerable and be authentic about the things that they share about themselves? So let's talk about these things and let's see how we can help one another to constantly remain authentic in conversations that we share with ourselves. Truth be told, we all struggle. We have life struggles, whether with our career choices or with our family choices, with a child, with our decisions in life, with work, with so many things that we want to achieve, because we are human and there's always one thing or the other that we look at achieving. So we constantly struggle. That is a fact. So if we say that, why do we live in denial? We know that as we struggle, we fall, we struggle, we come up again, we achieve heights, we fall down again, we come up again. But why do we always hide from sharing this truth? Why are we not vulnerable one with another? Why are we not authentic in the conversations that we have when it comes to issues that pertain to our lives? One of the things that I found that is that people are afraid of rejection. People are afraid of people saying negative things about them when it comes to those areas that they have fallen short. Yes, we're all guilty of these things, but when or how long do we want to constantly remain on this spot? You know that there's this adage that says a problem shared is already half solved. And when we have genuine conversations with people, you come to realize that there's also somebody else in that particular situation with you. So when you begin to share those concerns and you begin to share those pains or those aches that you're currently going through, you might just be seeking help for yourself. And conversations like this actually come out from your heart. And then you begin to see the other person share his or her own concerns, share his or her own struggles, or the fears that he has gone through. And it makes it easy on both of you and you begin to share those struggles. And you know what? When you share these struggles, it helps you to heal. Because when you find somebody that is in the same boat as you, there lies vulnerability. And this is an opportunity for you to just bear it all. And as you begin to share these things, I know some people are afraid because they know that when they say something about themselves to one person, somebody says it to another person in confidence. Don't say that I told you, or I'm just saying this is what happened to Tony, and this news begins to spread and it becomes a no secret. It becomes something that goes out from the little concise space that you have shared it, and then there's breach of trust. You can't trust anybody, which is one other reason why people don't want to be vulnerable. You don't know who you're speaking with. And people also come with that act of pretense. Some people might, yes, be facing one thing or the other, but they still pretend about it and don't say exactly what they are going through. So you bear yours, they hide theirs, and they spread yours. So there's lack of trust. There's lack of trust. So some people begin to hide these things, and then when you begin to bottle up so many concerns and struggles in your life, one, it makes you age faster. Two, it makes you lack more confidence. Three, it makes you, isolate yourself from the general people. And you don't want to live a life as such. Would I say you should continue to build barriers because you don't have anybody to talk to? I would say no. You still need to have people that you are confident with, that you can speak with. People that you still have ability to build their trust when you share one or two things about yourself with. There's nobody that is an island. We all have one person that we can pour our heart to. Tell them about the things that bother us. Tell them about our struggles, our pains, our aches, our fears. We have one person that we share this thing, and we should have that confidence in that person to share it. Because sometimes when you open your heart and you share things, it helps you feel lighter. It helps you, deal with that burden better, because you don't keep it to yourself. Another reason why people don't have, this authentic conversation is because they've been betrayed. In the past, they've shared, and then the consequence has still right now been haunting them. Yes, it's okay for you to share what you're going through, but sometimes when you now find people betray you or stab you at the back, and it doesn't go down well with you. Somebody that you trust have actually said something or even added to the story that you have shared or said about yourself, and it goes around and people begin to, just gossip about it. It makes you feel betrayed. And that's the reason why people don't have this honest conversation. I wish the world could actually be a fair game whereby you can have people that you can speak with, people that you can really pour out your mind with, people that that whatever you have shared with them remains with them. That's why there are counselors or guardians that people can actually go and talk about the concerns that they go through. And these people have, like a non-disclosure characteristics that they can't talk to anybody about it. They might share experiences on a broader level, but they won't pinpoint it to you. So when you're even walking along the street and somebody is talking about this particular issue, they've not mentioned names, it's not directed to you, you don't know about the person like anybody else that would have heard it. So these are things that people need to build. People need to understand when things are said to them in confidence so that they can continue to have trust of the other person that shared those information about themselves. What I also realize is that some people see vulnerability as a weakness. They see that you lack strength when you share, or you're being authentic in the things that you share about yourself. I don't agree. Because, it takes a good heart. It takes somebody that is bold and confident to share. In fact, when you don't share, I look at you as the one that is even weak and timid, because you feel that you have enough, or you are enough on yourself to be able to cater for the things that you go through, which is so wrong. Everybody, like I mentioned, have one struggle or another, and as we begin to struggle with one area of our life to another area, we've not even been to one stage of our life before, and then we get into it. Like people get into menopausal stages and they struggle with one or two things. Some people have not been in the childbearing stage, and when they hit that stage, it becomes a struggle. People that have never gotten married too feel it's all bed and roses, and when they step into that particular phase in their life, it becomes a struggle. So when you don't share, or you don't seek help, or you don't speak to somebody, I would say you're weak, because that is not from an authentic space. But I must also mention that there's a place for privacy. Some of these conversations also need to be kept private, and that's why people are refusing to be vulnerable to other people. They realize that when they begin to speak or say things about themselves, people share this information and it doesn't go down well with them. So if you are one person on the listening space, or people come to you and you hear some other person's story or some other person's struggles, try and be private about it, because it also helps this person. Sometimes when you want to heal, you need to speak out, and when you speak out, you are trying to be vulnerable. But the other person should not see you as being weak, or see you as an avenue to spread your matter all around the space. People should stop doing this, because it also will not help the total society and people being vulnerable. A matter breaks or a story breaks and people begin to spread it like rumors. it also doesn't help that family, or it also doesn't help, the person particularly, even to heal from that situation. I'm not saying everything is void of, being kept secret. Information are meant to be heard or to be spread, but there's also a place for privacy. So we need to be discerning about these things. We need to know when to be quiet. We need to know when to stop sharing, so that we can also help this person or that person to heal. People also run away from, fear of judgment. And when I say judgment, is still the same thing I've been talking about, which is people judging you for why you took this decision, and that's why it led to the struggle that you're going through, or why did you take this step, and that's why this issue is really working against you. People need to stop judging others, because you are not a judge and you are not in the circumstance of that person. When someone comes to you with a situation or shares something with you, it's not in your place to judge. You can advise based on maybe experience or an overview of the situation, but you can't place a judgment on the person and say that is why you are in this mess, or that is why this is going on with you. You have not in any way helped the situation, and you've not helped this person. So the struggle still continues. What is the way out of it? That's the concern, and that's why people refuse to share. Because when you begin to share, people begin to judge you, and people begin to even add or say more things that you did not even say to them. And this causes a whole myriad of stories and mix-up about this one person. So how do we build authentic relationships, or how do we enhance these conversations to be authentic? How? I would say let's build meaningful relationships. Let's build meaningful relationship. And relationships also differ from relationships. There are work relationships, and there are family relationships, there are personal relationships. You have travel buddies, you have social media buddies, you have buddies in different spaces, and it doesn't mean they are all authentic. So you must strive to build meaningful connections, and from there you begin to sieve the genuine people that you feel are authentic and that you can share your stories with, or you can be vulnerable with. And while we are building meaningful connections, everybody can't be your friend. There are connections in every area of our life as human beings. But how do you help yourself? Because you also at some point need to be vulnerable. You must be able to determine by yourself who is your genuine buddy, who is your genuine person or a friend that you can really be vulnerable with, that would not hold it against you, that will not spread false rumors against you, that will not breach your trust, that will not cause you fear of rejection, that will not also make you feel isolated because you have shared some vulnerable truths about yourself. Someone that will also not, misinterpret what you have said or even judge you. So you must build those connections, and as you begin to, have friends, that helps you build the connection. You begin to know who is genuine. So you might have a group of friends. It doesn't mean everybody in that group will be your best buddy, or the connections that you'll be vulnerable with. There are some might be buddies when it comes to some particular matters, whether for work. Some might be buddies when it comes to discoveries, or you find that this person is good in this area. Yes, you can talk about those things, but when it comes to you and your sanity, there are other buddies that you need to find, and you can build trust and friendship with. So find meaningful connections with those buddies, so that you can be able to find someone that you can be authentic with in your conversation. And like I said, you are not isolated. Everybody has struggles, and as you begin to share this, other experiences from this other person also springs up. They share their past experience, or you don't even know that they are also currently going through one, and they begin to share these experiences. So you are not alone. You are not alone in this struggle. There's nobody that is an island. In fact, the Bible says there's no temptation that is common to man, such that it is peculiar to only you. because somebody else has also gone through it. Somebody else is going through it. Somebody else has experienced it, and there's always a way out of it. So that escape route or that way of escape is actually found out of a place of vulnerability. You know, yeah, when friends gather or when people gather together, you can pray about a situation. You know, that's when you are vulnerable, because if you are not, then there's no way the other person understands what you are going through and how to help. They are not the solution, but they can help in one way or two to be able to at least alleviate the situation a bit. And that's why, you know, emotional assistance is very key. You see yourself in the same space, there's no shyness, there's nobody is hiding anything. So you begin to pour, you say your own, he says his own, she says her own, and you're all vulnerable, you know, just trusting God for it. And then you can always pray together because you've poured it out. So A is accountable to B, B is accountable to C, and there's trust, there's mutual trust. And that's how you can build that emotional confidence amongst yourself. Something else that also makes me laugh is that, you know, people portray flawlessness or perfection. And, you know, it's what we put out there as if we are the perfect people. Nothing is wrong with us. We have no challenges. We have no issues. We have no struggles, you know, no fears. But that's not true. When you're vulnerable to somebody, you break that perfect image that you create about yourself. We all have like a facade of ourselves, you know, trying to be prim, proper, perfect in the eyes of other people. People see us and they say, oh, I love her. She's always looking good. She's always this, she's always that. But that's the facade. If you move closer, or you probably have opportunity to speak with her, if you are the kind of person that she would be vulnerable to or he will be vulnerable to, then you see that behind that facade is a myriad of challenges, a myriad of struggles and fears and concerns and things that have already been bottled up that need to be shared. So don't look at people and feel that everybody is a perfect image of something. So we need to build this support for ourselves. We need to build this support. So we must come to a place of trust amongst ourselves. People are too fake. People are too ingenuine. They are too perfect. They are too flawless. But it's only God that is flawless. We should be able to, you know, be vulnerable with ourselves. I don't know how or when the world will come to that space where everybody will come to that particular spot. But I think that's what will help us all, because we learn from our mistakes. We learn from ourselves. And when we read stories or we read documentaries of people that have been vulnerable and where they are at, we criticize them, we judge them, we say negative things about them. Whereas we have our own flaws, we have our own errors inside of us that we are hiding with 10 padlocks that nobody must see, and put a facade in front of us as if we are flawless and we are perfect. We need to come to a place whereby we have people that we can speak with, people that will not judge us, people that will not at every instance want to tear us down based on what they've heard or they know about us, about our weaknesses or about whatever we've gone through. Are you that friend? Are you that person? When you're also trying to be vulnerable, or you're the one that listens to a vulnerable person, you must also be able to communicate effectively. You must be able to listen. You know, active listening is very important. And that is why we need to be that person. We need to be that person that listens, the person that is easily accessible by the vulnerable person. You know, people talk a lot about when you're abroad, there's nobody to speak with, people are isolated, people, you know, there's always one thing that goes on with one person, but it's because of this fear. So we need to be careful with ourselves, because when we speak or when people tell us things, how private are we with information that people share with us? We must remember that being vulnerable with people is a deeper level of conversation with other people. It also fosters good support system for the people that you are vulnerable with. So we need to check ourselves. Are you that person that someone can be vulnerable with? We need to create that environment, especially those of us that are living abroad, because you know, we are always far from family, we're always far from the very close friends that we once had before we moved abroad. And there's such a wide gap for us to be able to reach out to those people. We have new connections here in Canada, and it's just a struggle because we're learning to know people newly. We're trying to understand them and whatever place that they represent as friends to us. But we can help ourselves by creating that environment of vulnerability one with another, and also enable people to be confident to share their life with others. Let's create an environment whereby authentic conversations can thrive and people can be genuine in the conversations that they have with one another. If this has been helpful, do share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you in another vlog. Bye.